Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope you had a great holiday. We made it through the week. It is Black Friday. I hope you all rested after your shopping experience and ready to sit down and have a chat with some great guests. I'm Phil Russert, and this is Creatorcon Q&A. And before we get into it, as always, I have a few shout-outs to do. Just want to let you know, if you like great content and YouTube shows, go to Comics Cast with Joe Tolliver and host Jarrell Motos. We have The Bitten Apple, which is a show that is on all social media. We have Android's Amazing Podcast, which you can find on Spotify and a ton of other different places. It Came from the Radio, which I just did a spot on. You'll probably hear on Monday. Is an internet show hosted by Mark Torres. Great group of people, very knowledgeable, and they'll give you up-to-date news on geek culture. We also have Mad Titan Comics, which tomorrow, if you're in the Phoenix, Arizona area, he has an outdoor comic sale going on, and it's everything from slab comics to key issues to dollar issues, you name it, and he's got it. You can go to MadTitan_comics on Instagram and Eric Gunderson, who is the owner and operator on Facebook, to get details. So if you're in the Arizona area, go check that out tomorrow. We also have Andy Lee with LesDudis.com, www.lesdudis.com, everything geek culture and pop culture. Please go check him out. Art by Kike, which is Enrique Lopez. He has his Inking with Kike show Monday nights at 8 p.m. He has a special guest every week. This month is Female Artists Month, so please go check that out. Now, to our guests this evening. Tonight we have, if not the best, one of the best cover artists in the industry right now. He's also a really nice guy anytime I've interacted with him. And with him is also an up-and-coming colorist in the industry, doing excellent work in the indie scene. So we have Shannon Maer and Becky Fuller. Hey, thanks for joining us.
Our pleasure. Hi, all.
How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How you doing, Phil?
Stuffed with turkey, relaxed? Or rotisserie?
Yeah.
Rotisserie.
Yeah.
Did you guys stay home today, or you went out and shopped?
Oh, no, stayed home.
Definitely in.
Yeah, Black Friday is a stay-home day for me as well.
Always. Not just this year.
And you're a Long Island native, so you know how it is out here. Even the grandmas drive at 95 miles an hour on the highway.
Yeah. Where in Long Island are you?
I'm in Bayport. I'm in south of Stony Brook. Exit 62.
Okay. All right. Yep.
What were you, Kings Park or something like that?
Yeah, Kings Park.
Yeah, I'm like 25 minutes past there, so.
Yeah, I've spent some time out at Stony Brook.
Yeah, cool. I had a show out there. Someday we got to get you to a show.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, let's hope that they come back soon enough, right? It's getting a little crazy. Back to crazy again. But let's try to bring some normalcy today, right?
Yep. And if people see Becky leaning over, she's also chatting a little in the live stream there. I think she's on my account. I think she announced that.
Oh, cool.
But she's
Well, before we
get some commentary there. So.
On the Creatorcon Facebook page.
Okay, yeah, because we're getting a lot of people in here now. I'll say the hellos first before we get into everything. David says, hi, all.
Hey, David. Again, always seems to make it into these. Thanks, David.
That's cool. And Chris.
Hey, Chris.
And
hey,
Mark.
Chris, good to see you. Hey, Mark.
Mark May.
And John Ottinger, who's a regular on my show, who's a great supporter, great creator himself.
His characters are adorable.
Aren't they?
Them. Yeah, I was in the comments earlier, whenever you posted earlier, he did a sticker of one of them, and I was like, I didn't know there were stickers for those. They're so cute.
He kindly, I don't know if you saw the post, sent me some wonderful things to my family, and it's just great family fun what he has, and it's awesome. So
that's great. I love it.
Jack Napier, you got a lot of hellos here, Shannon, so we'll get him out of the way right now so we can. Ken, great work. Dell is a regular on my show. He's going to ask 1,000 questions, which is cool.
Uh-oh.
Bill. No, Chris Madd, for once you're on time. Do you know Chris Madd? He's another artist. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he does. He does a lot of the work with Frank Gogol, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love his art on the interiors for the books that he's at for Dead End Kids and No Heroin, I believe.
Yes, absolutely, and he's a great guy too. So So let's get into it because they're going to be flooding in here. I will monitor the chat and we'll bring up some questions and stuff. So let's start generically. What inspired you to become an artist?
What inspired me? I don't know that I had a choice. It was all, about art since I was as young as can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, 4 years old at least is when I think I was seriously motivated.
Did you ever get any formal training, or you self-taught, or?
I did go to an art school for college. I have mixed feelings about it. I had a few classes that were good. Too much of it, I feel like I wasn't learning anything. It wasn't just me. I didn't feel like the teachers were all in and actually trying to teach us. It did often feel like they were trying to teach us without letting us learn how they actually do anything. So a lot of it was just kind of generalized design information. But I did have, a few classes that were definitely good. So I don't want to include them in that full mix.
Right. Well, as a nurse, my real education started when I jumped in a hospital. School was really not an education. It was just a formality at that point. So I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah, but I'd say to a huge extent, I felt like I was on my own to learn.
And who are your influences? Who are your artistic influences?
There's such a wide array of fantastic artists. I see so much, and it's just, wow. But when I'm talking about this subject, my mind goes back to my early days where I guess I had some direction and knew what I wanted to do. And I was very into some of the great fantasy illustrators like Frank Frazetta and Boris Vallejo, and the ones that are doing, it was Dungeons and Dragons or TSR back then, which is now Wizards of the Coast.
Right.
Parkinson, Easley, all of those fantasy illustrators. So they were an early influence and lasting influence, if I can say that word.
See, the one thing I could say about your art is usually when you look at somebody's art, you can see a little of who influences them in it. Like I've seen guys that you could see J. Scott Campbell's their influence, or Jim Lee, or whoever. You're your own influence. I don't see somebody else's art reflected in your art. So I commend you on that because it's totally Shannon. I don't see, you could tell he's a Silvestri guy or whatever. It's truly just yours alone, which I think is awesome. So you're going to be the influence for somebody else at some point, probably then.
No, that would be an honor.
That is pretty cool. So how did you get into the industry? Where'd you get your break?
Well, I had been illustrating professionally for many years. Gaming, slot gaming, that kind of work. I guess I initially started in graphic design, doing animated graphics for television. So I guess after a long stay in that, it was definitely illustration that was still my passion. So I moved out of graphics specifically into illustrating for games, and I was definitely interested in doing comics, but I didn't feel that specifically my work would lend itself to the industry.
Okay, why is that?
Because of the style. It wasn't the classic comic book style.
How wrong were you?
What's that?
How wrong were you?
Yeah, it's I had been approached by a few companies and stuff over the years where I spent a lot of time just doing my personal work, growing my Facebook page, not for any particular reason, just to share my artwork. And I had developed a fair following there. And I guess my work caught the eye of Big Dog Inc. And I got an inquiry from them. And I had received a few already, but nothing I was overly motivated to take action on. and I took one look at the work that they were putting out, and I'm like, I'm in. You know,
Tom
I
Hutchison,
definitely want
yeah.
to do this. I'm in. Count me in. And I think if I recall, what happened was they gave a go-ahead on doing a cover, and that was like probably like Friday of the week, and come Monday morning, you know, he had something on his desk from me, and they were just like, okay, not used to getting something so quick. But I was definitely really excited to participate on it.
And is that, I think I have that cover here. I don't know how big it's going to pop up. I don't think it's going to come up big. Hang on. I'm going to black you out for a second, but we can hear you. So is that the first cover?
Yeah, that is it. Legend of Oz, Wicked West. I believe it's issue 7.
Volume 2.
Yeah, it was at volume 2, issue 7.
Okay.
Look at that. It's beautiful. Beautiful cover. Very lifelike.
Yeah, thank you.
You draw females really, really well. We have some other covers too. I can show. Let me get. So from there, where did you what was next for you on the agenda after? I mean, with Big Dog Ink, you get your intro. I know you have a lot of covers, which I'm going to show them all now. And then from there, you go.
Not exactly. It wasn't a straight line with that. I started doing covers with them. It seemed like it was going well. I really wanted to push it. I kind of wanted, like, if we were going to do it, I felt at the time my work was a little different than maybe some of the stuff that you were seeing there. So I was interested in kind of doing it a little bit more fast-paced, and then it became a bit sporadic. And I guess my active presence in the industry became quieter, and for a while I really wasn't doing much. I would do a cover for them now and then, and I guess I decided to focus on some other things. I think on both ends we didn't really push it enough. And then it must have been, I don't know, a year and a half ago now, Becky?
Something like that, yeah.
About a year and a half ago, I was like, I don't think I'm done with comics. I really want to take another shot at this. And I started creating samples. I thought maybe it would be a good idea to start doing actual characters from some of the big publishers, which I really didn't do before. I guess I kind of felt like, well, if anybody's interested, they'd approach me and be like, okay, if you could do this, you can do one of our characters. But I was like, let me actually create these samples, And then I was able to line up interviews with Marvel and DC at a show with Becky, which Becky played a big part in making sure that happened because we were exhibiting at the show.
Right.
And that entailed Becky running off with my portfolios and making sure to submit them and sign up, setting up my time to go see them.
And putting together impromptu portfolios. You didn't have portfolios with you for them to review. So
Yes.
I was
right.
running around a con trying to put together 2 portfolios, one for Marvel, one for DC, that could be dropped off and left with them. And I was like, we weren't prepared for this, but made it happen. So
good for you. Wow. How did you pull that off?
I just did. It needed to be done, so I got it done.
Well, speaking of Becky, you are a colorist, and you've done some really great work. I mean, we had seen you on Hellbringers, the card game with Mark May. If you don't mind, Shannon, I'm just going to show a few pieces of hers.
Absolutely. Make sure to give the line artists, illustrators credit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you'll have to do that.
so many good artists in the project.
So this was from Hellbringers, the card game. It's a little small, but
oh yeah, that was a really fun one because I had never really done like group scenes like that. Because all of my coloring that I had done for practice was individual characters and stuff because that's the line art that people had given me to practice with. And so it was really fun getting to, figure out which ones to focus on and highlight, like where to bring out details and where to let them fade into the background, and playing with the smoke and the gorgeous lines by Michael Mastermaker. Like he's so good. It was so much fun to color his line work. Like that's my favorite. That is my absolute favorite one I did from the whole set. I love it so much. And I was trying to go for a really kind of eerie but colorful palette because it's supposed to be set in hell.
Right.
And I really had fun with it.
And have you had formal training, or did you you self-taught?
I am completely self-taught. I was introduced to digital art through Shannon. I would always use his setup. He uses an iMac, he uses a Wacom and stuff, and I was learning from him, but it just wasn't clicking. And then when I started using a touch screen form of painting, when I got an iPad Pro, it was totally different. It was night and day, and suddenly I was feeling like it connected more. And so I just went from there and just started learning, watching YouTube tutorials, Ross Draws. I watched a lot of Ross Draws. Russ Cassidy was amazing. He sent me a video that he did showing me some of his tips and tricks. Sanju Nivenjun has been giving me a little bit of advice. Definitely been following Niai's Patreon for a while. And so I'm just trying to, learn the essential stuff from the best and go from there.
And we have this piece you did over Sora Sung's Red Sonja. Sora
that piece was really fun.
Yeah, she was on a show before. She has the record for most F-bombs.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
No, that's Sora for you. But she's a great person, great character.
She's amazing. And I love her story, Carnal Confessions. I love it so much. I actually wrote a guest chapter. She hasn't released it yet, but I did a guest chapter for that. Yeah, I forgot to mention that before the show because I also do writing. I'm also a writer. And so I did a guest chapter. Not sure when it's going to come out. It was originally supposed to come out sometime soon, but I know she's been traveling, so we'll have to see when that comes out. But I think people will like it. It's a really fun story.
Excellent. By the way,
oh yeah,
that you were asked, Becky, as a manager, how hard does Shannon work you?
Okay.
Well, you just found out she had to pull a portfolio out of her rear end, so.
The things that Shannon asks me to do, there's like 5 things that he asks me to do a day. But the things that need to be done for Shannon, that's a different story entirely. It like I would say it takes a village, but we've only got me, so
such as making sure that we get this going with the live stream, following up and scheduling and
mm-hmm. Yeah, he jokes, he always jokes because I'm the one who remembers everybody's names. Somebody will be like, oh, this person, and Shannon's like, and I'm like, oh yeah, he did this project and this project and worked with this person, and oh my gosh, I love this book. And so he always teases me that I'm always on my phone and I'm always on Facebook. And so then whenever he's like, how do you know all this? I'm like, because I'm always on Facebook. That's what I'm doing. I'm paying attention to people's projects. I'm seeing who's doing what's being noticed, and who's being there for other people. I notice when people do nice things for others, and that's a lot of what goes into it, because it helps me pick which projects that I really push for Shannon to work on and try to make room in the schedule for. So I do so much, but he really doesn't ask that much of me.
I appreciate all of it.
Well, I will say this. I reached out to you, Shannon, probably last year about a show. And you did get back to me, and you were very nice and you were very kind. Unfortunately, couldn't make the show. So in my short dealings with you, I've only had very short conversations with you here and there. You've always been very kind. And Becky, you've been nothing but accommodating, and you gave me plenty of things that I needed for the show, and you've been in constant communication. So kudos to you. I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
You make a great team. We'll put it that way.
Thank you. I really try to follow up with everybody.
You always have with me. Sometimes it takes a little while, but you always follow up with me, so I have no complaints. Okay. I understand that sometimes, it takes a while. You're probably getting a ton of messages, and you got to sift through. And you really just want to draw anyway. You're not all about all this marketing stuff. You just want to draw.
And and sometimes it's rough. I could have like numerous deadlines looming, and someone will reach out, and I really want to follow up, the best I can with that. But I know for the next 5 days, I barely have time to breathe. And then between, that time and then maybe when I get a slight break, I may have had, a few other inquiries. So it's really fantastic that I got Becky to try to manage all of that.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I try, like, my philosophy when it comes to trying to figure out what to do for Shannon and stuff like that is I try to make it to where all he has to do is paint, if that's what he wants to do. He just has to create art, and I try to handle everything else, so that way that's all he has to focus on.
So real quick, I just want to say Kevin said he dropped in to say your Catwoman cover is one of the sweetest he's ever seen. He wants to send you a copy so you can sign it for his wife's collection. Kevin's a cool guy. He big fan of yours. Yeah, that Catwoman is an amazing cover, and his wife loves it. So,
thank you, Kevin, both of you. And yeah, I don't know when we're going to do the next signing. I don't have people sending me stuff directly, but I know that we're planning when we feel comfortable with it. Doing another signing with the Comic Mint and
with Captured Collectibles with Jason Irizarry. We're going to be doing another signing with them. We were hoping to do it in December, but COVID's getting pretty rough, so I think we're going to have to delay that a bit, unfortunately.
Well, we don't have any specific answers on whether we are or aren't. So I don't think we should get into the details on that.
Nope.
But I would like to be able to do another one as soon as it's reasonable to do so.
Cool. By the way, I mentioned Jarrell Motos. He does Comics Cast. If you're ever up for another live stream show, that's a good show to go on. He's a really great guy. So, if you have the time, consider that.
Follow up with Becky.
Yeah, Jarrell, talk to Becky. So as far as your art, now you do traditional pencils, I know. You do digital. Apparently you do painting. Which is your favorite medium, and what is your process when you're doing these covers?
Favorite is, it's hard to say because I guess it's specific to what I need to accomplish with it. So doing works for clients, winds up printed. Digital is great. It's easier to make changes if I have, client changes. If they request anything in the middle of a project. I enjoy working in pencil a lot. I used to, once upon a time, be exclusively oil paint. I haven't really jumped back into that in recent history. If I do again, it would have to be in extremely well ventilated conditions.
Or you could get high and have a good time.
Yeah, it gets rough.
No, it gives him a headache and makes him cranky. So he's been toying with the idea of trying gouache, though. So I'm excited to see that because I've seen him when he actually paints, and it's phenomenal. It's mind blowing. I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, I don't understand how, like, I saw it when it started. I saw the blank canvas. I don't understand how it looks like this now. Like, I don't understand how you did that. And I watched him do it. So it's.
I don't know who Eric B is, but he said, looks like I do nothing but watch porn and cartoons. I get roasted on this show often, so I find it funny. So have you ever done rendering where, like, you did a digital illustration, then you print it up on a canvas, and then you follow up with, like, watercolor painting and things like that? I mean, you could do something like that and go to an art gallery.
I haven't done that direction, but definitely if I get back into the painting, I think, I will at least do my roughs digitally. Get a decent foundation for my color palette and such. That's kind of a plan.
Okay, because I think you'd make a killing in art galleries if you did something like that. With I mean, the realism that you put in your characters alone. I mean, you don't have the style, but the sense of realism makes you think of guys like what's his name, Alex Ross. where it's a real take on the character. You know what I mean? It jumps off the page.
Mhm.
I mean, like, we're going to show some more stuff you've done, like that Gamora you had done. I think that's one of your favorites, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that just looks like a cosplayer. You took a picture of a cosplayer. It's so clean and so clear. So we're going to get into showing you art, but I want to get more into talking about. So you do, obviously, you're a cover artist at this point. You're one of the premier cover artists. Everybody loves your work. Do you do sequentials? Would you like to do sequential work?
If I went into that, I think it would be for like our own book. I've spoken with Becky. We've considered, creating.
That was the look of, should I say this?
Yeah. We've considered, we've discussed, we've done some concepting to put out maybe our own book. So I think if there was any chance of doing, sequential work like that, it would be for our own stuff. I don't see myself doing it for someone else's book.
Right.
It's going to be a lot to tackle for me, for how I work, my style. So I think it would most likely be just for our own work that I would.
So we might
take
have
that leap.
we might have a Kickstarter campaign in the future. I mean, you've got an artist, you've got a writer and colorist here, right? And you'll do the pencils and inks. So you guys already got your whole creative team between the two of you.
Yeah, Becky will be doing some writing with me. She's a fantastic writer.
Well, you answered one of my future questions about future projects. So no, it's good. So if you were to ever do interiors, like, who are some of your favorite characters? Do you currently read any titles, or do you have favorite characters in the industry that you would love to illustrate?
In terms of reading them, it's very sporadic. It'll be now and then something that'll catch my attention, and I'll read the book and catch up on the storyline. But nothing right now that I specifically follow issue after issue. And what was your other question? Favorite characters? Or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
He really likes Spider-Man. He definitely likes Spider-Man a lot. I know he really enjoys the character and, his quirkiness and his sense of humor. So I know he really likes Spider-Man. I know he likes Harley Quinn. Yeah, he doesn't really land too often on favorite characters. He really likes them all. He gets enthusiastic more about how they look. Do they have a cool outfit? Can he do something really cool with them? That's where he tends to go with that. But
I'd love to see you draw my favorite character. Nightcrawler.
Because your name. Oh, Nightcrawler. Okay, your name was across
okay.
it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go.
Just said Philip Russell.
Jarrell asked, are you considering doing a collected works art book, which I think would be great?
I would love to, and I think I'm accumulating more work to be able to do that.
That would be a good warm-up Kickstarter for you to get the feel for a Kickstarter. Sketchbooks are a great way to start crowdfunding, get a feel for it, and then boom, put out your project.
Yeah, and we've also discussed, calendars and what kind of, I guess, groupings of a dozen images, would work well for that.
Mark told me to ask you what cover you're cooking up in February.
I can't announce. Oh,
he means the one for him.
Oh, okay, for him. Thank you, Becky. That's for
the next Hellbringers book.
Oh, okay. Yeah, did we settle? We didn't settle on a character for that.
I think you wanted to do Lilith. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so we did.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm like a deer in headlights.
I can't even tell
never
you.
announced any covers before. I didn't see who that was, and
it was Mark May.
I can't even tell you how many projects he has going on, so I always have to give him some context clues. And he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, we can go forward now." Yeah, so he's going to be doing a cover for Mark May's next book. So not his next book. The next one that's coming out is Jengar and Shred, which he had the interiors done by Richard Bunk on that one. And I've seen some of the pages and they're gorgeous. And so the one after that,
Hellbringers 2?
Yeah, Hellbringers 2. They did Hellbringers, The Sacred Heart with Chad Hardin. And so they're going to be doing the next installment of the Hellbringers comics, and Shannon will have a cover for that. So that will be on their Kickstarter for that.
And we took that message there as consent to talk about it because I never do. You know, I never announce anything before a publisher or whatnot announces it. So
there you go.
The inquiry there.
Mark's also looking for his plug, so he got it.
Yeah.
David said he wishes your covers were more accessible in the UK, as there are only a couple of online stores that can order them. Would love to just walk into one of his local stores and see a Shannon cover on the shelf.
I think that might be happening before too terribly long.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out when it's actually out, but I guess I spoke of it in another live stream. It's the only time I ever mentioned it. But I have signed on to do regular Vampirella covers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I'm waiting right now. I didn't know if it was this month that it was coming out and it would be available in local comic shops or...
I don't think it's this month. I can't remember which issue they said it was going to be on, but I think I'm not sure. I know when they're due, not when they're coming out.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference because we don't know the release dates on that end.
I have that Vampirella cover, the Valentine's edition from the Comic Mint. Let me pull that up. My computer's running slow. We got that.
That was his first Vampirella cover, his first Dynamite cover, his first cover with the Comic Mint, and yeah.
We have a few questions here. What is the Dell said? What is the favorite project you have both worked on so far?
Favorite project, Becky? You got a favorite project?
Oh, for mine, okay, so I'm gonna pick two different ones because one is a writer, one is a colorist. As a colorist, it's very easy to pick the Hellbringers card game because that is my first published project. That is my first official project as a colorist, and I'm so thankful to Mark and Russ for all the help that they've given me and giving me my first start with that. And as writing, I do a lot of different things with writing. I write articles for a magazine bi-monthly, but I think my favorite thing is the Carnal Guest story because that's one of the first times I've really gotten to play with fiction with an established character, and it was a lot of fun.
Cool.
I hope you were thinking.
Yeah, that gave me a minute to think because it's tough.
Well, I'll make it a little easier. Someone asked also, what are your top 3 covers that you did? So maybe we can just narrow it down. Like maybe you can narrow it down to your top 3 covers that you really enjoyed, or you thought looking back came out to show your best work.
Okay. Well, I'd say that Wonder Woman, it was $850. $750. I knew it was gonna. 750. So my cover for Wonder Woman.
Is that the one you sent me, Becky?
Yes, it should be.
Let me show it.
Which I also sent you pencils for that one.
Yeah.
Which we actually at C2E2 we were able to meet Gail Simone at the DC booth, and so we were able to get her to sign one of those Wonder Woman books. So that was awesome.
Yeah, this was the finished cover, and then I'm going to follow up showing the pencils. So this is the one you were talking about.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And what else? In the Gamora, you said, right? Which I'm going to show. These are the pencils for Wonder Woman. Why is my computer running slow today? I don't know. I guess my computer is still on Thanksgiving. All right.
That's what you get for giving
These were the pencils. What's that?
So it's what you get for giving it turkey.
Yeah, really. I should have went with a rotisserie chicken. So these are the pencils. And then I'm going to show the Gamora. And what would you say is the third that you did, that you loved?
I don't know. Maybe the Harley Quinn. That was the one we have the print of. That was done for.
Yeah, you didn't send me that one.
The one we have a print of. We have lots of
hanging on the wall here.
The metal print.
And that's the Gamora. I mean, look how realistic, and just look at the texture in her outfit. I mean, that's amazing. Look at that texture. And then her face, I'm telling you, it looks like a photo of a cosplayer. I think that's magnificent looking. I mean, you've done some incredible covers, man.
Thank you.
No, which Harley do you mean?
The Harley, the original Harley I did. That's up on that wall right there.
Okay. We did
Not
that
metal.
for. I thought you were talking. We have a metal version of it down in the
Oh,
kitchen.
okay.
Okay, that one was for Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, #1.
Oh, okay. That was it.
Yeah, I don't have that one to show, but I'm sure everybody knows it though. Tom said he loves the Vampy cover.
Hi, Tom.
Oh, hey, Tom.
And Dave has the Wonder Woman signed, so that's cool. Bernardo says he loves the dark red cover. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was a really good one.
I think you sent that to me. And man, Raphael said the pencils look amazing.
Thanks, Raphael.
And he agreed about the Gamora. So, do you ever get like an artist? Well, I'm going to ask you both this question. Do you as a writer and you as an artist, do you ever get a block? And if so, how do you break through that? Or do you ever just not feel like, I just don't feel like doing this, but I got a deadline and I got to get through it? How do you cope with that, and how do you get through that? I'll ask that to both of you.
Well, for me, when there's a block, it's usually getting motivated to get started. Once I get started, it's difficult to get me to stop. That includes taking breaks to eat. I just keep going, and I don't want to stop. But occasionally, I guess finding the momentum to get started is the toughest part. This is going to sound funny, and maybe not exactly your question if you're talking creative blocks. But in terms of finding the energy and momentum to get going, I do something funny, which is like open Photoshop and then leave. And then I know it's just sitting there, and then I'll come back and I'll set up, my working document. I'll set it in stages where I just have to get it open, and have it sitting there and just waiting for me until I'm ready to just sit down, and I know I can go right into it without having to get all my materials, my documents, my programs, ready to go. That it's just sitting there and waiting for me. And that's my favorite trick for jumping back into something.
Do you have any rituals that you do besides that? Like any I don't know, like an OCD type thing or a superstition or anything like that?
No.
Because Becky's looking at you.
Disappointed.
She's like, I'm not saying a word.
One of mine, never mind.
Okay. Well, your turn then.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to writing, I feel like I almost always have a block. I feel like it's more rare that I get something done when it comes to writing. Like, it feels like until about 12 hours before it's due, maybe, I can't work on it. Can't bring myself to do it. And then once I have no time left, that's when I am cranking to do it. And it's a problem. I need to figure out how to address that because it's not a good way to work. But that's what I
fast,
do.
I'll tell you that.
I do.
Yeah.
Really fast. I do everything fast.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I'm always tired. I'm always I'm always trying to rest and sit and lay down. But when I'm up and I'm going, I am going. Like, it's going a lot. But it's more just trying to make myself sit down and do it. And then once I do and I get it started, then I'm like, okay, wait, this isn't as bad as I thought. Okay, my brain was lying to me. This is okay. I can do this. Oh, wait, this is a good idea. Oh, this is actually turning out okay.
But to get yourself started, do you have to wait till the last minute where the pressure of I got to get it done kicks in, or do you have something that you do?
No, sometimes yes. You can ask Sora. She's like, okay, you need to have this to be just, sometime by, end of the month. And so like the last day of the month rolls around and I'm like, probably get that finished, shouldn't I?
That's like my wife. Why do today what I could put off to tomorrow?
Yes, exactly.
You know what though? Some
Philip
people
will take care of it.
Yes.
What's that?
That's tomorrow, future Becky's problem.
See, that's the thing is some people that work better under pressure, they need that kind of push to be as creative as they are. So if that's working for you, I mean, stress aside, go for it. But these days, artists and creators and comics have a certain celebrity attached to them, with social media being what it is. they have hundreds and hundreds of people telling them how great they are every day and how awesome they are and how wonderful they are. And we want you on this interview, and we want you at that show, and yada, yada, yada. How do you deal with that celebrity type feel? And how do you stay humble during that? Because again, I have had limited interactions with you. I don't know you personally, but in the times that I've spoken to you, you've been nothing but kind and cordial and friendly. You haven't had any air of arrogance, and there are some that do. So how do you deal with that celebrity, and how do you keep yourself, humble?
Well, I think the easiest way to keep yourself humble is to be based in reality, right? I don't really see any reason for, I guess, a level of arrogance or anything. When I think about my work and what I do, I know it's been a lifetime of working hard. I know what's gone into it. I know, like, when I've done things and it's gone well, and I also know when I've done things and it hasn't gone well. So it's just, I guess I stay grounded by keeping that reality. And when I talk to other artists, one of the primary things that I try to convey is that you can do it too. I try to make sure that they feel that way, that if they have the passion for it, that they really want to do it. It's not an exclusive elitist club.
Depending on who you talk to.
Well, it's, I won't get deep into the story, but there has been a story that I enjoyed telling. I don't know. Do you want to hear it?
Sure. Be candid here, man. Go
Okay,
for it.
Going into story, but so I would have been fresh out of college, right? So I was young and still very much learning my foundation, the foundation for my work. And thank you.
Sorry.
Let's get an echo here.
Sorry.
But I was very much learning, still in an early learning stage. And I had an opportunity to meet one of the artists that I really liked. One of my favorite artists.
Neil Adams. No,
What
sorry.
was that?
I was going to say, I was guessing it was Neil Adams. If it's a bad story, it's got to be Neil Adams.
It's not a bad story.
It's not a bad story.
Okay.
And it's also not Neil Adams.
Okay.
Right. But one of my favorite artists, he was making an appearance at a local art store by me. Something they advertised on the radio. They didn't advertise it very well, so there wasn't a big showing. They have a gallery there, so they had a couple of people. They had this artist and one or two other people, actors and stuff like that were there. So I had the opportunity to finally see his work in person. I've never seen any work from my favorite artist in person. And of course, I started asking questions, and he wasn't very forthcoming at all. I didn't hound him, but I stayed around all day. I gave him his space, and then, half hour would go by and I'd wander back around, and look at the work and then maybe ask a quick question. And I really wasn't getting much from him. And then I think after like hours and hours of the day passed by, hey, finally he goes to me. He's like, he takes a deep breath. He's like, all right, come over here. And he walks me off to the corner, like secretly to talk to me. And he told me a few things, and we had a little discussion about his process and what goes into the work. But my takeaway from that was, here I was like this college kid, and he didn't want to just share his secrets, right? And my realization was that he seemed to be aware that, anybody with the motivation and passion could probably do what he does.
You were competition. You were upcoming competition. Sure.
And I see that one of these greats, one of the, the leaders in the industry sees this kid as potential competition.
That's going to be a confidence boost.
That was very telling to me, but it wasn't based on my work. He wasn't familiar with my work.
Okay.
But that was my point behind that story, that, even the greatest in the industry, you should be aware that other people can be, talented. Other people can be creative like they are. Other people can put in the time, and learn to do, some great things. So that's why I like to tell that story. That
Are you allowed to tell us who it was?
What?
Are you allowed to tell us who it was?
Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
All right, because it wasn't a negative story by any means. So whoever it was actually wound up doing right by you and working with you. So
yeah, almost coaxing it out of me, saying no, it's a great story for that person.
Yeah, for half a second there, I thought maybe you should, and then I'm like, no.
All right, I won't push you. I won't push you. By the way, Shauna said I'm late. I made it.
Shauna is the best in the world. We love her, and she did not miss all the action. David, don't tease her.
You could go back and watch the episode anyway on YouTube. Every one of my episodes is on there.
She missed the conversation we had about her.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And December said, "Hi, Becky and Shannon. You're both two of the best people ever. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this."
Oh, December's so wonderful.
December, yeah.
We love her.
Joe Tolliver runs that show I told you, Comics Cast, that you should get in. Joe and Jarrell talked to Becky about having Shannon on. Joe is actually right now, he's in the Army. He's away. So I wanted to say thank you for your service. We welcome you back soon. And he's got a great show, so you should check that out. So anyway, getting back to you guys, I have more work to show that you've done. And while we're showing it, I wanted to ask, I don't know if it applies to what you had just mentioned, but have you been at a convention where you fanboyed over somebody? Where you just said the store signing, but was there a convention where you had to contain yourself from making a fool of yourself in front of them?
Becky is smirking here.
Which, I don't know how much he contained himself, but
yeah, well, I don't typically.
By the way, this is the dark red that was mentioned before. While you're telling the story, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think I typically fanboy anything. Becky said never. It's like, I love going to the shows. It's great to walk around. I love seeing, all the artists, and, it's like, oh, cool, is over there, and no, cool is over there. But, I typically leave it at that. But it was at the Boston show a couple of years ago, and I had no idea he was there, but Drew Struzan was there. And one of the things I really wanted to do once upon a time was movie posters. And that was before that industry kind of changed and they moved off of so much of the illustration work. It still exists, but nothing like it used to. And Drew Struzan is, I want to be polite and say one of the all-time greats, but he is the all-time greats.
Yeah.
As far as I have to say. But it was the end of the show.
I'm pulling the picture up that you sent.
Okay. We were exhibiting at the show, and it was at the end of the day when I got a chance to try to run by and catch him. And it was really great because I guess he just got through his line or whoever was there. So I kind of got a one-on-one with him. And I definitely did not want to talk his ear off. I was all set to, be polite and follow his lead and just get something signed and walk away. But he was wonderful. He was just fantastic. He sat there chatting with me for quite some time and, asked plenty of questions about me. And I mentioned, I'm an artist, I'm exhibiting. And I pointed, I'm back in that corner over there. And if you wanted to stop by tomorrow. And I thought I was just being pleasant and that there's no way in hell that was going to happen, And then the next day we're at the table and we're working and it's pretty busy. And corner of my eye, I catch Drew Struzan walking down the aisle. And he's got sunglasses on, but my impulse was I saw him turn his head and look another way. And my impulse was, oh God, did he not see me? Did he come down to this corner, to look for me and didn't see me? And before I knew it, I just raised my arm up and I'm like, Drew, Drew.
And the look on my face, he doesn't even do that with people he knows.
Yeah.
Like, one of our good friends could be walking by and he'd be like, "Oh, they didn't see me. I'll text them later." So for him to do that, I'm just like, what is happening? I don't understand.
It was an impulse, though. I was like, "Oh God, did he miss me?" And then, like after probably yelling the second time, Drew, right? I see him. He turns his head and looks over at me, right? And then tilts his head down, and he starts beelining straight towards me. And now is when I'm seeing, oh, he's got like a hat and shades on. But shades on. And I'm like, I think he's walking around a little incognito. And there I am yelling, Drew! And I don't know, you want to tell more of the story?
So he showed up, came into the booth and was talking to Shannon for a while, and his wife Dylan was there, and she was wonderful.
Absolutely.
And so he was standing there with his arm on Shannon like this, and they were chatting, and I was sitting there chatting with Dylan, just watching our boys sitting there and talking. It was adorable, and he was just ear to ear grin, and let me tell you, if you haven't met Drew Struzan, the man is cool. Like Harrison Ford level cool. Like that man is just cool.
I took a tip from him. I guess you probably see it in the photo. I don't know if it came up small.
It did, but I can bring it up again if you want.
He took a few photos with us, right? But what I noticed that he did was, for the photo, he put his arm up, like this, and his hand on the shoulder or whatever, like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, note to self, that is a great way to take a photo with somebody. Because, like...
Well, it looks more intimate, like you're a buddy, right?
You stand side by side, you never see that somebody's got their arm around you or whatever, right? And it's like, that shows the interaction, and it's not invading anybody's space. It's just like, that is a great way to do that. He's a professional. He knows.
Well, that's that Harrison Ford cool that he's got going on.
That's what I thought when Becky said he is cool, and I was like, yes.
Apparently,
yes.
Sean
And,
is
taking the photo.
Sean is disappointed it wasn't the Comic Tom story, which you didn't fanboy over Comic Tom. You did a little bit because we love Comic Tom. Shannon and Tom are great friends. They talk all the time.
Just a little. It was only the beginning of a pandemic when he walked over and said hello, and before anybody knew it, I hugged him.
So Shauna loves Comic Tom, and he's so wonderful. He actually, because he likes Shannon so much and he's so nice, he sent Shauna a custom happy birthday video, which she loves it, and she's just always like, I watched the video again. I love it. I love Tom. So she wished that we would have talked about when we met Comic Tom at C2E2. And he made her a custom video then too.
Yeah, that was the first custom video, and she got one recently for her birthday. And then talking to her recently, what she said was, "Oh, I haven't watched my video yet today."
Yeah.
So she probably does watch it every day.
Jessica Fields said that she sees your new chair.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And that your hair has gotten long, Shannon.
Oh, just a little.
The COVID ponytail.
Jessica, I don't know if you saw on I don't know if you're friends with her on Facebook. Or she's Kevin Fields' wife. He runs Frankie's Comics. But she has a cute little pug named Pepper, and she got a Peach Momoko drawing of the dog.
Oh, cool.
I'm so jealous. It is so cute.
So Mark, the mess that he is, his phone died 13 minutes in. What did I miss? And of course he gets his plug in. You gotta love Mark, man. Jesus Christ.
His plug for Hellbringers?
Yeah. You should purposely say the name wrong just to screw with him. No. Hellbingers. It's Hellbingers.
Way too nice to me for that.
No, he's been so fantastic to Becky. I couldn't be more grateful. Becky has loved everything that she's learning from him and everybody that she's been introduced in that group.
Cool. Very cool. I'm going to show some of your covers too, by the way. I don't know if they're going to come out big or not, but we'll find out. And feel free if you have any anecdotes when we bring up the covers that you want to add to this. Of course, my computer is going slow. Come on. Always. Well, while we're waiting for this to boot up, and there it goes. That's the key. Say while we're waiting for this to boot up, and it finally boots up.
Yep.
So this is a black cat that you did. Again, I love the realism.
Oh, and I would like to point out, everybody was commenting about how it looked like she was holding a Chaos Emerald from Sonic, which my teenage son also pointed out. If you thought that he was being like super cool and making a Sonic reference, he wasn't. That's just the way he draws gems. Beautiful. It's a beautiful way to draw gems, and he wasn't being as cool as you might have thought he was.
No, I was cool. I'm cool.
This is the new project from Big Dog Inc. Tom Hutchison's going on with Ursa Minor.
Oh yeah, I forgot that he's doing more with Ursa Minor right now. Yeah, he's got so much going on right now. It's awesome.
Okay, yeah, so it's a great.
Was, what he was talking about when Tom chimed in and said Vampy?
Nope.
Or what was he talking about?
He was talking about your Valentine's Day Vampirella.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's the book sounds really fascinating, and that cover's phenomenal.
Yeah, we always wind up talking about Tom in these live streams. Yeah. He knows it's coming.
Oh, and he loves it because he's on every one of them. He's like, go ahead.
Well, he was late tonight, so he actually missed our first long conversation about how Tom gave Shannon his first chance in comics, and we got all nostalgic. And we talked about how wonderful and amazing Tom is, but he missed it. It's gone forever. He was late.
Yeah.
Hit Girl. Let me tell you,
I love that Hit Girl.
Yeah, I really was excited to do that one. That was my first cover for Image. Yeah, extremely excited to work on that one and that character. So that was.
I have a 6-year-old. I have a 6-year-old that.
I'm sorry.
I have a 6-year-old that, except for the cursing, has that personality, and someday I'm going to dress her up as Hit Girl, and I'm going to end my shows with her going, "Show's over, mother," and it's just going to cut off. And that's how I'm going to end every show.
So she slaughters people by the dozens, but never curses.
Yes.
Okay.
If you met her, you would understand.
One thing I love about that cover is that you can never... You've never found all the bodies that are actually in there. Like, the longer you look at it, the more bodies you find, which is fun.
It is. There's one,
like, well,
two.
If I'm doing this character, that was like, that was like what was most memorable to me. The first time you see her engage, and it's just like, oh my God, that didn't just happen. She didn't just do that. No. What am I seeing here? Like, oh my God, what am I seeing? They really did that,
And this is
like, how do I not put that into the cover?
And this is the new Venom storyline. That was from Venom 25, right?
This one is from the King in Black #1.
Oh, I did want to note.
Oh, you have a Venom from the Venom 25. That's right.
That the Image Comics, the cover, that was the first time I also worked with Scorpion Comics.
Yeah, we loved working with Scorpion. Sean was great.
Yeah,
cool.
Definitely wanted to make sure to note that. So that was for the Hit Girl cover.
Very nice. And here's your King in Black. I don't mean to knock you guys out, but because they're small, I want people to see the detail.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
You need another viewer.
Unfortunately, it depends on the file that's sent to me, how big and small they are. Some are bigger than others.
Oh, I would have sent you larger. I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, we don't know until you send it, and we didn't really have time to go through them. And then we've got another favorite in the indie scene.
Yes, Lady Death.
Yeah.
Again, look at it. Looks like a cosplayer that you just put like maybe a digital layover on or something. It's that realistic looking. It's phenomenal. What else do we have? We went through those covers. Here are some pencils of the Red Sonja that you did.
We did that one for Frankie's Comics, or I should say he did that one for Frankie's Comics.
Were you part of the team producer on all these projects, Becky, in the least?
Anyways, that was for Frankie's Comics. And so that one, it was after Shannon did the pencils for Wonder Woman, and Kevin reached out and said, we'd love to do a Red Sonja cover that's a sketch cover.
Yeah,
Very
so
nice.
they straight up just wanted it to be original pencils for the cover. So that was a little new for me, so that was fun to do.
Now, for artists, they say hands, feet, and face are usually the hardest things to draw. What did you find the most difficult to capture as an artist, or what do you still find the most difficult?
Collarbones.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. It's maybe my impulse is to overshade or over highlight. But there's something about it where I want to define it, and then I wind up feeling that it's overdone. So if I have a tendency, I have a tendency now to have it underdone, and I think that works better for me. It is. I am amused. Sometimes I do catch it with other artists, and I see that they really played it up, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not the only one that likes to over define it.
Okay.
So I don't feel completely alone there.
And this is a Punchline, the new character that they were pushing on DC.
Yep.
Who does all these colors? Is it the same colorist, or is it somebody else? Or
no, I do it.
You're doing the colors too?
Yeah, I approach it,
Wow.
relatively as a painter.
That is amazing.
Naomi.
That's probably one of my favorites that
Yeah.
he's done. I love that one so much. I really liked the C2E2 color splash version. Like, instead of doing really black and white, it was a warm, it was more warm tones, and it was just really pretty. I really liked it.
I'm getting messages and advice while we're doing the show. That's the Vampirella. There's the Venom I was talking about for 25.
Yeah, that was fun to work on.
Very nice.
A little break from what people usually see from me, so that was definitely exciting to work on.
I love how the tongue looked like it jumped off the page. It looked like
the
it
3D
came out at you. It was really cool.
Yeah,
the 3D
doing
effect.
Venom, I just want to get in there close. It's like the teeth, the drool, the tongue. So I'm like, what is exciting me the most about this? So I really wanted to focus on that.
And I got your Betty Page series too. We're gonna go look at that, and then I want to show a few things that Becky has done. Now, you obviously draw women really well, and we did see a Venom, and we did see the King in Black. But do you wish you get more commissions or more jobs to do men? Do you enjoy drawing men as well, or male figures?
Yeah, definitely. I'm starting to voice and push a little bit more for some of the characters that I want to do.
And what would those characters be?
Although I did a Batman cover recently, it was of not of Batman the character. I definitely want to do Batman. I've had Spider-Man. I definitely want to do. I've had him appear as a background character, but I want to do a front and center Spider-Man. I do want to do, I guess maybe not your traditional human, but I want to do Turtles. What else was on my list, Becky? Anything?
Turtles, that'd be cool.
So many.
Oh, Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil.
Daredevil, just for Bob.
I'd love to see you do Daredevil and Moon Knight. Oh, I'd love that. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
This is my favorite of the Betty Pages.
I love it. I love witches, so I love that one.
Yeah, this is my favorite.
So happy.
Your colors are incredible. Unbelievable. I guess you would have to be the colorist to do your service because, to adapt to your style, I think a colorist would have to really be on their game. And we're back to that. Steph Wilson just joined in, so perfect timing for you, Steph, for your plug, because we're going to show the pencil that Becky commissioned from you, and then we're going to show her colors as we pull this up slowly.
Hopefully it comes up big.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. Steph is everywhere, so you'll probably see this somewhere anyway. And here we go. So this was his renders of Robin Hood.
So
Really
yeah,
cool.
he was doing a live stream and doing that piece one night, and I saw it. And my favorite Disney movie growing up was Robin Hood.
It's one of mine.
Loved Robin Hood so much, and so when I saw that and he just perfectly captured them, I was like, I have to have this. And so then when I got it, I was like, you know what? I'd really like to color this. I think that would be fun. And I was like, you know, it's cartoony, so it's mostly flat colors, so I can do that because, you know, to me the idea of like fully coloring a piece was completely foreign to me. I was like, I don't know about that. So I was like, it's mostly flat colors because it's cartoons. I can do that. And so I did. I, put it into my iPad. I inked the lines and then I colored it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. This is so much fun. I feel like I am connecting with the art. Like I really enjoy this. And so from there, I just started learning as much as I can, asking everybody for line art, which I'm still doing right now. Like,
Steph said you colored it perfectly.
Oh, thank you, Steph.
Yeah, I was just when Becky started doing some coloring on her own, I was just like, wow. She would just flat an image, and the colors that she applied, it was just a work of art. The flats on its own.
You know what this looks like to me? It looks like the cover to one of those golden books that you used to get.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a cover to a golden book. Great job.
Thank you. It's, it made me happy. I was motivated to do it. I felt passionate about it because I loved the characters. And so then I've just been learning anything that I can. And he loves my flats. Apparently I make really good color choices in my flats. And then he always seems to like my flats better than my finished product. So hopefully we'll get to where the finished product, he won't be like, why don't you go back to the flats?
Losing us?
Hello?
Yeah, you're freezing up a little bit on us.
Do you have us now?
Are you there?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Oh, we're losing you.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah,
I tried to boot out and boot back in without losing everything. So that was odd. So I'm sorry, you were saying about your flats.
Just that he tends to like my flats better than the finished product, and that I'm striving to get to the point where he looks at the finished product and doesn't go, oh, but let me see the flats again. So that's where I'm at right now.
I wonder if it's because this something my Wi-Fi must be bad, but I'm hardlined. I don't know what's going on. So this is something else you colored. Why isn't that coming in? There it goes. All right.
Oh, that was one of the cards for Hellbringers. That was actually the very first card that I colored. And I really liked it. I had so much fun playing with the wood textures and making the book look old. And, like it was significant. That was a lot of fun.
Are we freezing up again?
Yeah, I'm starting internet. Let me get rid of this.
Say it's Phil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is me. It is me. One freezing up.
Do you have anybody?
All right, we're gonna get away from that because. Yeah, they apparently still see you, but it was me who was picking up.
Okay.
Now, your art, Shannon, was also on Fortnite.
Oh yeah. It was kind of a bit of surprise. I found out by receiving messages from people.
Oh really?
Yeah, we had no idea.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's every time I try to pull up a pic, it's slowing everything up, and that's why I'm freezing. Well, I mean, the pic you sent me, let me see if it comes through without me freezing up. Gotta love technology because it hates me. And any day now. So you were approached to do this for Fortnite, and it's one of my favorite characters, actually.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Mystique.
Oh, yeah, that was
Becky.
really something to see, and I was a little blown away. They put artist credit there, so on that home screen,
Why did
in
it
the
do that?
upper right, they actually credit the artist. So that was really nice to see.
Yeah. It said Mayer variant.
Oh, that's good to know. Now, are you getting a lot of followers?
Audio's breaking up, but are you asking if I'm getting a lot of followers in response to that?
I don't know. I'm a little freezing here. Followers from the gamer scene.
I don't know. I wouldn't specifically
I don't think
know,
we've noticed a noticeable uptick in new followers specifically based on that.
I think every time I try to share a video, that's what's going on. All right.
And thank you to the people who sent that to us, because we still wouldn't know if people hadn't sent it to us.
Russ, it's not you. It's both Steph Wills and Russell Anna in the chat. That's why I'm slowing and freezing. So, I've been really impressed with Becky's work. Shannon, of course, you're one of if you haven't already achieved it, you're one of the most renowned cover artists at this point in the industry. So congratulations on that. You said that you may be collaborating together on a project in the future. Individually, Becky, what do you have coming on the horizon?
Right now, I actually, other than the guest story that I did for Carnal, which I will definitely be sharing that all over when I find out, when it's coming out. And I think that'll be on Sora's Patreon. So if you aren't already signed up, you should sign up, because it's a lot of fun. We have a Discord, or I should say she has a Discord, and we chat weekly, and it's a great place to have fun. Other than that, I don't really have any projects that are set in stone at the moment. I've been talking with a few people who've been interested in my work, and I would love to book some new projects. I would love to keep creating and just keep getting better. In the meantime, I spend hours a day just coloring line art that people have sent me, and I'm just continuing to improve. And
Becky's,
anybody need a colorist, reach out to her.
Becky's growth rate has been blowing my mind. She's had a very different approach than I have throughout my life, whereas I guess I'd approach it as a perfectionist. I would spend forever on each and every piece. When I was originally, illustrating in oil paint, I'd work on something for a month until I folded it in half and just put it in the garbage, and then moved on to my next picture. That was kind of the approach that I had, was I would beat it to death, trying to make it perfect until that just wasn't happening, and I'd move on. So I guess I wound up beating myself up a lot and focusing long periods of time on each individual piece and parts of paintings. And then Becky started illustrating, and I would just watch her, painting. And like an hour and a half later, she's like, I'm done. I love it. It's perfect. And like my immediate impulse was, all right, don't say anything. Like my impulse was, you're not going to get anywhere with that kind of attitude. You're supposed to hate it and be like, I got to do better. I got to work harder. I got to spend, hours and weeks and months on this. But she's just perfect. She's beautiful. I love it. And then she moves on to her next picture, and an hour and a half later, she's done with that one, and it's a little bit better than the last one. And I'm just like, okay. And I'm still not saying anything. I'm like, okay. And I'm just thinking to myself, let's see you do that again. I really was. I was just biting my lip and, don't say anything. And
so
did it again, and she did it again. And like 2 weeks later, I feel like she grew more than I, at the time, earlier on had grown in 2 years, and I'm like, maybe she's onto something with that approach. So, I'm open to learning.
You gotta rub on him, rub off on him.
Yeah.
So Do you feel your self-deprecation hinders or helps you, though, achieve your level of creativity and success?
Well,
Hinders.
well, I think definitely looking back, earlier on as an artist, that I did make things more difficult on myself by trying to make each piece perfect. I knew it wasn't where I wanted it to be, but maybe I should have moved on from there. Maybe I should have worked smaller. Maybe I should have just done a greater volume of work quicker, and I could have learned faster that way. Have I adjusted to new ways of working now? I don't know.
Yes.
Have I?
So when I say it hinders him, because I don't mean it hinders everybody. For some people, if that's the way you work and that's what works best, then great. But for him, whenever he has a lot of time to work on a piece, I will watch him struggle. I will watch him question every decision until it's overworked, it's overdone, and he's not happy. But if you say, Shannon, you forgot about this cover and it's due in 3 days, he will produce the best cover you've ever seen from him. And it's because he doesn't have that time to tell himself, oh, this doesn't work. Oh, this doesn't look good. He just goes with his instincts.
So it's kind of like idle hands is the devil's workshop. The more
Yes.
time you have to think about something, the more time you're psyching yourself out. That goes back to my question about humility. That's probably why you stay humble with success as well. Because if you're that hard on yourself, how can you think that highly of yourself as far as your work? You can't be arrogant if you're constantly berating yourself more than anybody else would. So
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I don't try to, but something. I mean, maybe this will be helpful for other people because I can't be the only one. I'll start working on a cover, and I'll be in the rough stage. I'll get was my image blocked in. And I'm thinking right now, I did it relatively quickly. I'm thinking, yeah, it's coming together. It's working. It's looking pretty good. And then by the time I'm done, I'm feeling like I hate it. I hate it. And I have Becky trying to explain to me, no, it looks good. I don't know what happened between then and now. But my suspicion on that is I become so involved in the piece. All I see is any small part that maybe I was questioning. How I wanted to curl the hair here, how it, falls behind the shoulder or falls in front. And it'll be little parts of it that I'm working so meticulously trying to get right that when I come back and I look at the piece, my eyes don't just see the overall piece. My eyes just pick up 1, 2, 3 little spots that I was questioning. That's all I see, I think.
That the average fan won't, but because you created it and you have
maybe,
the artistic eye.
And then I'll have to be removed from the picture for a while. Maybe a month or so will go by. I haven't even seen the piece. And then, someone shares in one of my posts and I'm like, oh, why did I have so much trouble with this? It looks all right,
Have you looked back at any finished covers that have been published and like felt, oh man, I could have done so much better? Or did you finally come to terms and say, you know what, I was too hard on myself?
It's usually I feel I was too hard on myself.
So it's a hindsight kind of thing. Torture yourself while you're working, and then in hindsight realize you were torturing yourself while you were working.
Yeah. And I'm trying to get better with that, and I got Becky, pointed it out to me. She doesn't like to see me beat myself up so much. So sometimes I'm finding when I'm working on a piece like that, and I'm so far along with it, and maybe not feeling so great about it, I try to glance back at my earlier rough and be like, when I first did this, I felt okay about it. Why am I questioning so much now? And I think that's when I discovered that I might have been only seeing little parts that I was questioning,
right?
Like how it should be treated.
Well, if it's any consolation to you, despite all your torturing of yourself, which I wouldn't want you to do, it's probably that high expectation of yourself and um, that really nitpicking yourself that is bringing you to this excellent quality of work. I mean, again, some would argue you're the best cover artist out there, if not one of the best. And the hyperrealism and the colors and everything, the detail you put in. Someone, if you look behind me, who collects a lot of art, I may not be able to draw, but I think I have a good eye for art. I have to say that I actually think you're the best cover artist out there right now. Yeah, and there's some great cover artists, but I look at the stuff you've done, the Catwoman that Kevin mentioned, and Hit Girl, and King in Black. And that's the thing with you doing so many females, people would think, well, can he draw males? Because there's some guys that, they're not good at crossing, doing the other gender, whichever they usually do. But you look at the King in Black and you go, no, this man can draw. You can draw male figures just as well and detailed. So, I mean, try not to beat yourself up, but know that, you really are beating yourself up. So don't. Listen to Becky.
I enjoyed doing King in Black because he was not supposed to look pretty. You know? So, like, with the women and some of these characters, it's nice to portray them as, beautiful, all in their own way. And then definitely it's a male character, but not that he's supposed to be scary. So I enjoyed that no part of him was supposed to be pretty, even as a male, portraying a man, if he's supposed to be handsome, he's supposed to be good looking. I didn't feel that applied at all to King in Black. So I had an opportunity to do a character like that, and that anything that I was able to portray had nothing to do with the attractiveness of the character.
Did you find that challenging for you, though, to have to, go with a less aesthetic looking character?
No, I really didn't, because I try to narrow down a feel when I'm working on any character, like what do I really want to get across here? And with him, right away, it was scary. I want it to be scary. I want it to be creepy. So everything I was doing was trying to push towards that end game. Right. So I didn't really feel that there was an added difficulty level. I still had my focus, and it was, just make them scary.
See, I love to see the diversity of your skills, though. Some people get quote unquote typecast, and the girl pinup, and they don't realize, fans don't realize that you're capable of so much more. So I'm glad you got that opportunity. I hope you get more. Jeremiah wants to say, tell Becky and Shannon I said hi. Rock and roll. Jeremiah. And he said the cover for KIB is gorgeous, which is King in Black.
Thank you.
So the last question I usually ask everyone. Now, you guys are relatively young, especially compared to my old ass, but I'm going to ask you, going back in time, if you could.
Don't tell anybody. I think me and you are exactly the same age. I watched your video. You made a comment, something that made me think of you.
I'm 48 years old. I highly doubt that. If you are, I want to drink whatever the hell you're drinking, because it's the fountain.
He's older than me.
Yeah. By a year.
What month were you born?
So I was born in October 72.
Oh, exactly 1 year. October 72.
You're 47?
Yeah.
What are you drinking? Holy shit, man. Do you have a Fountain of Youth on your property? Can I get a drink of that? Are you kidding me?
I'll be selling it in my next Kickstarter.
Hey, I'm 55. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
right.
I'm kidding.
You look like you're like 27 years old, by the way.
I am 34.
All right. It's funny. My wife is 33, so interesting. Well,
but don't tell anybody my age.
Yeah.
Secret.
You don't look 47 years old. I gotta drink what you're drinking. But anyway,
we were on our first date, and I didn't know how old he was. And then I was like, "Wait a second, how old are you?" He's like, "How old do you think I am?" I'm like, "Are you older than me? Are you younger than me?" Like, he could have conceivably been younger than me for all I knew. So when he told me his age, I was like, "No, you know."
Yeah, no. If you told me you were anywhere between 29 and 33, I would have believed it. So you really outed yourself there. Yeah. So if you could go back in time to when you were starting out, what advice would you give yourself? And then what advice would you give someone up and coming now? We'll leave it at those two.
Okay, well, let me see. I mean, I kind of talked quite a bit about that with the learning process, but the biggest takeaway for me is learning to approach things smarter. How I went about learning, I was very, very stubborn. I didn't like doing color roughs. So when I was starting out, it was all traditional. I was focused in oil paint, and tons of artists would do, small color roughs, so that they know where the painting is going before they start working on a big canvas. I didn't do that. I didn't want to waste the time. I don't know. I just attacked the large painting. And like I learned from Becky, maybe it would have been smarter to do something quicker and then learn to improve image by image. But I didn't do that. I was just so focused. So that is a really, really something I look back at and I regret. And I'm always trying to learn and improve. So I'm trying to keep that in mind anytime I feel like I'm introducing something new, or looking to, not to beat it to death, just kind of do a little here and move on and grow that way. Was there a part of your question I left out?
No, yeah, and I followed up with what advice would you give an aspiring artist that comes up to you at a signing at a comic book store?
Oh, okay. I feel like I'm on repeat a little bit because it's the same thing. I always try to tell people this, that, if you have the passion, you can do it too. It may entail a great deal of work, but, learn to work smart. Try to learn from others. There's so many tutorials out there. See what other people are doing. Maybe they have recommendations on how to approach a piece. Figure out what your end game is, what you want to achieve. If there's a style of work or there's an outlet, if it's comics or something else, try to figure out what other people are recommending for the learning process itself, because you can waste years doing that and maybe not studying or learning the way you should be, or that would be most beneficial for you. Everybody's going to be a little bit different.
Right.
So, be very aware of that just remaining focused and beating yourself up and working hours into the night, day after day, week and month and year after year, doesn't mean that there isn't a better way or faster way for you to learn.
Okay. And Becky, having just had your first published piece, and you're really just breaking in now, and you're breaking in obviously with a sledgehammer because you're coming in strong, you're coming in hard, and you're getting a lot of respect and love right away. Your work has been very, is excellent. So congratulations. I wish you continued success.
Thank you.
What advice would you give someone from your perspective of just breaking in and how you got to this point so quickly?
My biggest thing that I could say is don't get too stuck on one thing. Like, you see somebody working with a Wacom and you're like, that's cool. I think that would be the best way for me to work. And then you do it and it doesn't click. Maybe try something with a touch screen. Maybe digital art is just, maybe it just doesn't click with you and you need to go more traditional. Never get so stuck on one piece of hardware or one piece of software, one program, whether it's Procreate, Photoshop, Clip Studio. It doesn't, find one that clicks with you, because just because this one didn't and this one didn't and this one didn't, it doesn't mean that one of those won't. And so just keep trying, keep adjusting how you do things until you find the right way that it works with you. Because if you try to do it the way everybody else does it, it's never going to feel natural to you. And so you've got to find the way that really speaks to you, because essentially, you know, you can learn the techniques from the masters, but until you find a way to make it click and connect with yourself, you're never going to be able to put yourself on a canvas. You're never going to be able to put yourself into a project if you're just doing things that don't feel natural to you. So just because that's how Boris does it, or that's how Vallejo does it, or that's how Frazetta does it, yes, or that's how Shannon does it, doesn't mean it's going to be the right way for you. And that doesn't mean that the way you do it is any less significant, that it's any less the right way to do it. Just keep doing it until you find your own way. And also use references. And whatever you're learning to draw, trace. People will tell you, no, you shouldn't trace it. Trace. Because I trace sometimes. Do I include that as like finished product? No. But is it making it to where whenever I go and I do try to do something by hand, that it's better? Yes. It will help you figure out anatomy. It'll help you figure out spacing, the feel of the way things go. It is a tool just like everything else. And you should definitely look past the stigma and use it as something that will help you. And never be afraid to ask for help or accept advice from people who've been around for a really long time and know what they're doing.
Cool.
That was a lot of advice for somebody who's had one project.
And you know what? That's probably why you've broken through, though. You have to be humble but confident, and you have to be focused on what's right for you and how you want to do it. And I think those are the keys. And earlier, Mark said that you're really good at taking constructive criticism, which I think is a big key. A lot of people don't know that editors, sometimes they really bash you in their critique because they want to see how you can handle it. Because Shan, you know better than I do in the industry, and you know better at this point. There are edits. They come back and say, we need you to fix this or tweak that. And if you get huffy, or if you take it personally, or you really take it to heart, and you make that show to them, they don't want to work with you.
Yes, that's also great advice. You know, like there would be times, you know, when I was coloring cards and I had nothing to go on. I could have asked Mark for stuff to go on, but I was like, no, I'm still learning. So I'm just going to do my colors and then take his notes because I need to learn how to take notes. And he would say, okay, this looks really great, but these are the colors I had in mind for this character. And so if I get offended by that, this isn't my character. I did not come up with this character. I did not come up with the colors for this character. So why would I be upset that these colors that I came up with don't match the colors for the character? You know, that's like me sending into DC Harley Quinn in a green outfit and then getting mad when they're like, no, you need to change her outfit. Like,
right. Unless she's the new Green Lantern. But yeah, I hear you.
You know, you've got to be able to take edits. You got to get your ego out of the way, because unless they're Neil Adams and they're trying to really, really get to the best of the best, you know, it's coming from, even Neil Adams, I'm joking because he's so harsh in his critiques. It comes from a good place. It's from, you know, trying to get the best work out there. And if
Neil Adams does that on purpose because he's trying to see if you can mentally be tough enough to do it. He's testing you, absolutely.
Yeah, I heard Mark May's story about how, you know, he had several reviews with Neil Adams. And yeah, it's to see who has what's right for the industry, and not because of talent alone. Like, yes, you have to have the talent, but you have to be able to set your ego aside and take notes and take edits and know that just because this is how you see something doesn't mean it's how other people see something. And at the end of the day, you both have to see the goal.
And Mark said that's why you're going to be great.
Thank you, Mark.
Dell wanted to ask Shannon, if you had the chance to travel to the future to see where you are, you know, where you are in the future, or go back in time to change something in the past, which would you choose?
You know, it's funny. The end part of that, I so often have those thoughts of, you know, if I could just go back in time and I could do this over, maybe how I approach learning, that I think maybe, you know, I could have grown faster. And then I look at it and I go, well, you know, all of the stuff that I wound up doing, I'd be starting from scratch and I'd have to do it again. So I'm like, no, I really wouldn't want to go back. I am who I am today, maybe because of also the hard times that I went through.
Sure.
You know, the difficulties, the stress, the strain, you know, the anxiety of the work, you know, maybe that helped to, you know, make me who I am today. So I don't think I'd want to change that. And seeing in the future,
What do you think you're going to see in the future? How's that? Let's even make it more interesting.
what do I think I'm going to see?
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Is it goats? Do we have goats?
Oh,
Do
you
have
sound
that?
like my wife. Oh my God. So I hope she's not watching this show because she keeps telling me she wants to get goats. And I'm like, hell no. She's like, they'll cut the grass. I'm like, among eating everything else too. No.
Shush!
This is exactly what Becky says about
All right,
the
Shannon,
grass.
you and I will have to get a man cave somewhere and they can have their goats. And we'll visit.
Exactly.
We've got 10 acres. He's got plenty of area that would not have goats. I want them in a very small part of the yard, along with the chickens and the ponies. So
You see his face.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that your question was career-wise, what kind of work, what kind of clients working with. Will I have my own publications, that kind of thing? And Becky, this is our dynamic. She goes directly to what new pets will we have? You know. But what do I see? I don't know exactly, but I would like to put out something that is my own or part of a team. So be it a comic book, a series, a storyline. I would like to. I would definitely like to move towards having. I don't want to use the word product. A
property.
Project, a
a
property.
property, you know, that is my own or part of a team, you know.
Cool.
So I'd like to move towards that.
Well, you got a writer and a colorist right next to you, and you got a lot of fan support that would love to see that. So I hope to see that in the future. And with crowdfunding, it's even more accessible than ever. And I know a publisher that you've worked with already that'll probably help put that book out, right, Tom? So you got everything at your fingertips. Now you just got to ease up on yourself, and you'll be good to go.
I'll do my best with that, and I really have been trying.
Hey, look, I understand being hypercritical of yourself. It is a blessing and the curse. It's kind of what drives you to be the best and bring you where you are. But at the same time, it could probably be exhausting on you and wear you down a little. Not to preach to you, but I'd tell you, don't ever live with regret. That just weighs you down. Things happen the way they're supposed to happen for the reason it's supposed to happen, and you learn from the bad, because when it goes good, nobody learns a damn thing. You stay comfortable, you don't grow. You've probably grown to where you are now because of everything that you, quote unquote, didn't do right. So cherish those, embrace those, and be glad for them, because those taught you more than any stupid school ever did.
Yeah.
So don't live with regret, man. I mean, you're doing phenomenal. You're doing way better. The respect you're getting, the quality that you're putting out there, the fan base that you have, you're doing it right. So you couldn't have been doing it wrong.
Thank you.
So,
I
and
appreciate hearing that.
And you, again, like I said, I don't know you personally. We've had limited interactions, but every time I did, you've been very humble, very kind, very accommodating, and I do appreciate that. Becky, you have been fantastic as far as your correspondence and working with me to get the show together, despite the minor tech issues, and I thank you for that. Norm Ratman finally showed up. He's usually razzing me by now. Shannon's work is beautiful, more beautiful than Phillips thinks he is. These are the people that apparently like me. Imagine if they didn't.
Thank you, Norm.
Yeah, Norm's one of the best thinkers in the industry, but don't tell him that. But give him a Snickers if you see him at a show or 10 cupcakes or something. Anyway.
That's the secret.
Yes, that's the secret to Norm. Junk food. I don't know how he stays thin, but the man packs away junk food like you wouldn't believe.
I have the same problem, just without the staying thin part.
You would think he was the what was the Scottish guy from Get in My Belly from
Fat
Austin.
Bastard.
Yeah, Fat Bastard. You would think he'd be Fat Bastard, but no. Norm is thin. But anyway, look, thank you both for coming out. I really appreciate you taking the time. It was a pleasure meeting you, Shannon, face to face, and you, Becky, talking to you. You're obviously welcome on any time, especially if you have a project that you finally start on your own you want to plug. You just call me up. You say, hey, I want to be on. We'll put you on. We'll plug the hell out of it. Again, I say thank you. And if you get the goats, Shannon, I have room here.
Yeah, it's I like to say, it'll never happen, but we started out with 0 animals and somehow we're at 5. I said no animal 5.
The only reason why men are the quote unquote king of the castle is because the queen said you could be.
Yeah, don't let him fool you. If we got a goat, you would be seeing pictures on Facebook 2 weeks later of baby goats in his lap and him just being so happy and going, oh, look at his cute little face.
Yeah, I love them. It just wasn't part of my plan.
Well, plans change.
Well, either way, I hope you work out your goat situation. Some people might call you the goat right now. Greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time.
That's what it stands for.
Oh.
But I wish you both continued success. We obviously will all be watching. If anybody is looking for a colorist, just reach out to Becky Fuller. And do you want to just plug where we can reach you, Becky?
Just my Facebook page. Just message me anytime. I don't really, my Facebook profile, Becky Fuller. I don't really have a page because I don't really have enough stuff together to do.
Give her enough stuff so she can get a page, people.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, and Becky is just moving over to being an administrator on my Facebook page. So when we get into a rhythm with that, hopefully she'll be able to respond to people there for me as well.
Yeah, I'm going to hopefully try to go through his backlog on his Facebook page.
I really try to keep up with it.
He does, and
really do.
everybody knows you do, which is one of the reasons why everybody loves you. Because you
no, I'll give you credit. I mean, it was. I had sent you a message, and it was several weeks, but you did get back to me. There are people that see the message right away and they don't respond. You always responded. You were always kind, and then you direct people the right way. So, yeah, that's pretty cool of you, because you'd be surprised how many people don't respond, even though it shows they see the message. So
yeah, I have questions about that myself. I have a lot of anxiety because I try to do my best. I try to get back to everybody. I'm hesitant. I don't want to I don't always have time to respond right away. If I see a message and I'm like, I kind of want to see what this is, or if it was somebody I was supposed to get back to, and I'm hesitant to click it open because then I worry if it's a long thing. And it'll take a long response from me. I know I can't respond right now because I have a project that's due in 3 hours. And then I'm like, it's going to show as red, So I'm like, don't click it. Don't click it.
What I tell everybody is just write, I'm sorry, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm busy. Just do that. And people usually, professionals will leave you be until you can get back to them. That's what I would recommend.
That is a tip.
Thank you. That is helpful.
The ones I worry about is on Facebook when it just pops up the message on the bottom. And I'm like, is that showing as red? Because I'm not even reading it right now. I just have Facebook open in the background here. And
well, again, any professional that you would want to deal with will understand if you say, I'll get back to you. They'll wait patiently for you. Mm-hmm. Anybody who doesn't want to wait, you never wanted to deal with anyway. And that told you right there that you don't want to deal with them. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, for me, it's I understand, what your artists and everything do and what you go through. So when people say, I'm sorry, I'll get back to you, it may take a couple of weeks, but I promise to get back to you. Okay, I wait. I don't bust your chops,
Mm-hmm.
Well, busting your chops isn't going to get me what I want anyway. So you get more flies with honey, right?
Absolutely.
Or goats. But anyway, if you don't mind going backstage just for a minute, I'm going to say my closing statements and I'll be right there if that's okay. I know you've been on late. I won't be long.
No, absolutely. If I'm not there, it's because my iPad has 3% battery left. But we may still be there, but if I'm not, that's why.
We didn't hang up on you.
No, totally understandable. Then I'll just message you. But thank you so much for coming out. You were both awesome. It was great to meet you both and talk to you, and I hope to have you back again. And when things get back to normal, I'd love to have you guys guest at one of my shows, my conventions. So
that sounds great.
Thank you so much
everybody.
For having us.
It was so good to see you and talk to you tonight.
hope that we said hello to as many people as possible as I'm glancing over at the stream. But
Well,
thank you,
afterwards,
guys.
if your battery kicks on, Becky, you're welcome to go in and address anybody you want to address in the chat. If not, they know where to find you.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, you guys take care.
Bye-bye.
So that was episode 37 in a bag. I thought it was a great conversation. Really nice people, obviously talented. I had a lot of fun meeting them and talking to them. Thank you all for coming out as always. Appreciate the support of the show. Appreciate the support of artists. Again, if you need a colorist, you see what Becky can do. Give her a ring or a message and work it out. She can do your pages. Get her some work to fill it and get her own art page going. Be part of that. Anyway, again, thank you to everybody. I really appreciate it. I'm going to post tomorrow. I have a show with an indie creator on Monday, and we will get into that. And I'm just going to leave you again that Legendary Illustrations, I have some great artists that right now have sales going on for the weekend. If you want some affordable art that's not going to break your wallet, they're really talented people. Any publishers want to reach out to me as far as hiring sequential work, let me know. That's my plug for the day. I'm going to leave you with what I always leave you. Be legendary and have fun storming the castle.